This is Jeopardy! And now your host, Zella Backtrack.
Welcome everyone, I am your host, Zella Backtrack. Tonight I have a special guest who is a Super Sentai expert and will be talking about Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger to us all. His name is the Kaiju no Kami. Welcome. Thank you for having me, Alex Zella. Our categories for tonight are Ryusoulger, 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 and Ryusoulger. Before Ryusoulger's debut, Toei did something interesting. For the first time in decades, the next Super Sentai series would not premiere the week after the previous one finished. Instead, they spent the next month with a 4-part Versus special written by Gokaiger's Naruhisa Arakawa. Strongest Battle features multiple rangers, with Wonka's golden ticket being taken to the chocolate factory.
Golden ticket? You found Wonka's last golden ticket!
I mean, being taken to the planet Nemesis by a girl named Rita to partake in a tournament. Aka Ninja, Toku 5, Juo Red, Stinger, and Gokai Red are lead heroes who have to uncover the truth behind this tournament.
Oi! Oni-san?
As this is going on, a mysterious evil purple warrior with a sword and shield named Geizord shows up to ruin the fun. It's nothing more than mere fan wank made to show off a bunch of older rangers fighting to save the Earth, because what else are they going to save? A bottle of milk? No good movie has ever started revolving around milk.
And we sat in the Kurova milk bar trying to make up our Razudos what to do with the evening.
I stand corrected. Seriously though, this special was Toei's way of being able to move Sentai's premieres from February to March going forward. What's weird is despite all the references to Jew Ranger, none of the Jew Rangers even show up. Once all was said and done, Ryusoulger finally blasted off over the airwaves to give us a show that had a completely misleading title. The name Kishiryu translates into Dragon Knights, which sounded really damn cool. Instead, we got another show that revolved around dinosaurs. On the positive side, Toei hired a man who has written a wide array of television dramas to helm Ryusoulger. One, Junpei Yamaoka. Oh boy, I cannot wait to see Yamaoka in action. Clearly his dramatization skills are going to give us one of the greatest Sentai series ever. Right? Right? The Heroes. This series revolves around knights who live in a hidden village and control dinosaurs. What is Ryusoulger? No. Now? What is Ryusoulger? Still no. What do you mean no? You said all the categories were about Ryusoulger. Do you actually know how this game works? Yes, I know how to play this game. Why wouldn't I? Are you sure? Because you told us before they started that you understood how the game works. Let me explain just in case. Ryusoulger are the name of the categories, not the answers. I ask you an answer, and you respond in the form of a question. The form of the question is your answer to my answer that's a question that's not a question. Okay? So, essentially, you would be saying, what is What is? You don't need to baby me. I get it. What is Ryusoulger? What is Zyuranger? And what is Gingamon? Or what is Zyuranger and Gingamon? Got it? Oh. Our Dino Knights include Ko, Melto, Asuna, Toa, and Bomba. Ryusoulger kicks off with only the former three knights being the stars of the show, while Toa and Bomba join up a couple of episodes later. What is Goanger? Yes. And what is Live Man? See? I'm getting it. Oh, thank Godzilla. Ko, Melto, and Asuna, played by Hayate Ichinose, Kei Tosuna, and Ichika Osaki, have been trained to be the next generation of knights to protect the planet by Sailor Moon, Tuxedo Mask, and Motoki. The three played Kamen Rider characters, who are Amazon Wasp, Kamen Rider Ibuki, and Kamen Rider Ichigo. Excellent. You are correct.
あいつらなら心配ない。まだまだ未熟だが、騎士として最も大切なソウルがあいつらにはすでに宿ってる。
そうだな。
まあ、手はかかるけどね。
Unfortunately, the Masters are killed off in the first episode protecting our Ranger trio, which is what kickstarts their desire to be the best heroes they can be. As well have been named Optimism Prime, for he is the most naive of the Ryusoulgers. He always tries to see the positive side of life no matter the situation, which does seem to be what pulls others towards him, so he must be doing something right.
何それ？
名刺交換するサラリーマン。
こういうものです。
おお。俺の勝ち。
いやいやいや、俺の方が可愛さが出てる。
俺の方がけなげさが出てる。
As far as personality goes, I have no problems with Ko. He's not hot-headed at all like Kiichiro was in Lupot. He's also nowhere near the levels of annoyance as Lucky and Takaharu were. Nevertheless, the show ends up revolving around him, and solely him more often than not. Nearly every upgrade that is gained throughout the series is centered around Ko.
Ryu Souls この感じ冷え冷え入門の騎士ユースワレット
There's a former apprentice of Ko's mentor who left to forge his own path named Nada, whose entire existence is just to give Ko his ultimate form. You could say his arc led to Nada. Thankfully, Ko is willing to share the wealth of upgrades as the show delves closer to its endgame, but the fact that everything went to him first and foremost was very disheartening. It kinda tells me that Yamaoka had no idea how to write a show around 6 main characters and went for the bare minimum. I will say, I do like Ko's ultimate form, as the armored look is pretty damn awesome. We do learn that Ko was a spiteful child who hated everyone until Asuna joined their crew, and from that moment on, he felt the need to protect her.
コウはアスナを守るようになった。それでコウは変わったんだ。
Melto is the team's overthinking genius. He typically can come up with a solution to any problem, despite sometimes going overboard on how bad the situation truly is. He kinda reminds me of Shion from Time Ranger, only quite a forgettable character.
よし。
おいやめろ。何かあったら危険だろ。いらない危険は回避すべきだ。お前はいつも考えなしに行動する。
メルト、考えるよりも行動が大事な時もあるんだ。
He's very kind, but ultimately comes off very bland, which is especially sad given how lively the Blue Rangers were in Go Busters and Kyoryuger.
いいわけないです。 竜奏者としての自覚が足りなさすぎる。
He does have a subplot with a young girl, of which I will get into later.
すごく似合ってる。可愛いよ。
ありがとうございます。
Asuna loves to eat, is extremely strong, and, according to Nada, the cute one.
カナロとバンバはめちゃくちゃ強いし、トアはすばしっこくて勇気もある。ネルトはちゃんとした作戦考えてくれるし、アスナはなんて言ったったら可愛い。
What is sexism? She also can't sing worth a damn, which does save their butts in one episode. Asuna's best moments include an episode where she was trying to help out a depressed dude who felt responsible for his friend getting hurt.
それより森くんが彼のためにできることはないの？
できることって何よ。
なんだっていいんだよ。きっと伝わるはず。
And one where a monster was inside of her and had...
phrasing?
Let me finish! Oh. As I was saying, and one where a tiny monster had his tail wrapped around her heart and she forced Ko to punch it out of her without regard for her safety. Yuto Abara and Tatsuya Kishida make up our brotherly green and black duo.
マイナスもドルイドも倒せる。
Listen!
俺と兄さん2人だけで十分。
Toa is the younger of the pair, which makes him impulsive. He loves to rely on his speed in battle, often not realizing the detriments in doing such. On the other hand, Bomba is the stoic personality who can get overly serious and will hide his emotions.
人は裏切るものだ。え？お前は何も知らん。裏切られる前に信じないことだ。
That alone makes Bomba my favorite of the heroes, as he is the most relatable. Instead of high-fiving a fellow teammate, he will just give a reluctant fist bump. Bomba's personality stems from the possible betrayal of his master centuries ago, though he does not like to discuss the matter. It is cool to note that Master Black is played by Time Red himself, Asaru Nagai.
あいつらは仲間に裏切られるなんて微塵も思っていない。
We are never introduced to Master Green, as he died long before Toa could ever meet him. One thing I do find interesting about this duo is they are not afraid to kill. Humans are connected to the monsters of the week, known as Minosaurs. A person's life energy powers up a Minosaur, and while destroying a Minosaur will save that person, killing that host will also eliminate the Minosaur. At the start, Toa and Bomba hold no qualms about killing a person to destroy a Minosaur, as the greater good outweighs one individual.
一人の命と大勢の命、どちらが大事か考えるまでもないだろう。
It isn't until they meet Cohen Gang where things change and they too desire to save a person rather than kill them. However, what I want to know is how many people did they kill beforehand? It didn't seem like their encounter with the Minosaur in their premiere episode was their first. Personally, I think this would have made an interesting plot point, that Toa and Bomba come to realize they should never have resorted to killing people in the past, and them joining up with Cohen Gang was their way to repent for doing such. The suits the Ryu soldiers don are half their ranger color with a black colored screw in the middle and silver on the other half. Their helmets are designed off their main dino buddy with a grill over their visors, similar to those medieval knights were depicted with. I do like the helmets, but the suits are a little too reminiscent of the Kyoryuger ones for my taste. They also have a wide array of key-like devices called Ryu Souls that allow them to access various abilities, including the one that transforms them into the Ryu soldiers. There is a Ryu Soul for practically every situation possible, like being able to see better, smell better, fart at monsters, etc. Using these also forms armor around their right arm and shoulder. What is Kyoryuger? Cole, Melto, and Asuna's mentor figure outside of their master is an elder played by Ultraman Jack, Jiro Dan.
外部のものを入れてはならぬ。こう。はい。夜明けとともに連れ出し、記憶を消せ。
Sadly, the Elder is highly underutilized as he seems to be there more for comic relief reasons, seen running a kebab stand in episode 6 and then a cafe later on. Even Ko and Melto find his business expenditures to be quite embarrassing.
ねえ、私も長老のとこ連れてってよ。
いやー、やめた方がいいかも。
え、なんで？
なんていうか、イメージが偉大な長老のままがいい。
The final main ranger for the team is from an undersea division of the Ryu Souls tribe, Canalo. Canalo's sole purpose in life is to find a wife, and that is pretty much his entire character for the entire show.
ユミ、これを君に。
ごめんなさい。もうほんと無理。
俺の何がいけないのかな？
わからない。細かいの。私もみんなが電気消したかどうか気になります。
電気が走ったぜ。え？よかったらこれ。For you.
He does have the coolest, most underutilized weapon of the show. Now, he does have some character growth, as when we first meet Canalo, he wants nothing to do with the other Ryu soldiers. Apparently, millions of years ago there was a war between the Ryu Soul tribe that found a third of the populace taking refuge beneath the planet's ocean. Canalo and his sister Oto have been raised to fear those of the land tribe, told they are evil incarnate.
あいつらオトを守ろうとしてくれた。やっぱり悪い奴らじゃない気が。
あやかしだ。
でも私を守るためにめちゃくちゃ傷ついて、それでも我慢してくれたよ。
何か裏がある。
Canalo does find this notion to be false and eventually joins up with the other Ryu soldiers. Sadly, that is where his growth ends, as everything beyond that is just him searching for a bride to repopulate his race.
お願いがあるんです。聞いてくれますか？
俺は女性の頼みしか聞かないんだ。他はあったれ。
Tatsumi Hyodo lacks all sense of charisma to make his character work well. Oto is kinda no different, as she sets out to find a husband, only to become infatuated with Melto.
ネルト君に会いに来ちゃった。だってクリスマスは好きな人と過ごす日なんだよ。
It's quite creepy considering this is a little girl and people will hit on her. It doesn't matter if the Ryuso tribe have extremely long lifespans and she is over 100. She looks like a little child, and actress Sora Tamaki was 13 at the time of filming this show. Surely Yamaoka could have done something different for Oto.
お兄ちゃん、やっぱ私もそっち行く。
オト。
いい人探してお婿さんを取る。
ダメだ。お前はまだ子供なんだから。
Canalo does have his own set of upgrade forms like Ko does.
栄光の騎士、竜装ゴールド。
The age aspect does play an interesting role at times throughout, as there is one episode that features an elderly teacher that we learned was Bomba's girlfriend years prior.
あなたによく似た人だったわ。
There's also one with Japan's Prime Minister, who turns out to be from the Ryuso tribe and her current husband is about to die, to which she is tired of going through time and time again.
300年以上前に村を出て世界を転々としたわ。日本に戻ってきてから占い師みたいなことしてたら、それがえらい流行っちゃって、それで政治家の相談にも乗ってたら政治家にならないかって。
Lastly, the Ryu soldiers end up befriending a father and daughter, as the daughter, named Ui Tatsui, finds herself accidentally entering the Ryu Souls tribe village while filming a totally not YouTube video.
なんでここに？
ここ何？お世話になります。かわ
Yui and her dad Naohisa end up becoming the people the Ryu soldiers stay with in order to learn about human society. What is Gosager? It also helps that Yui's dad was an archaeologist who learned about the Ryu Soul tribe in his excavations.
心の強い人ほど催眠術にかかりやすいってなんかで聞いたことがあるんだよね。
そうなのか。
Ui is a character that is hard to really analyze because she was as generic as can be, and then her role in the show just kept diminishing as time went on, making her a rather pointless character. She even leaves to go to America out of the blue at one point late in the series after being gone for several episodes. Tragically, the reason for her ever diminishing role is because actress Mano Kinjo's health was deteriorating throughout the filming, keeping her away from it. She passed away in 2020. Now Hisa was played by Mitsuru Fukukoshi.
メルト君。データは大丈夫だったからそんなに気にしなくていいですからね。
He also shares his body with the spirit of a former Ryu Soul tribesman named Seto, whose sole purpose is to provide our heroes with an exposition dump to know what they needed to do next.
シャインラプターとシャドウラプターは宇宙のエネルギーによって作られた騎士竜だ。次元さえ超えられる。
Seto does have a scene towards the end where he transforms into Ryu Soul Brown, which tends to sum up this show's tension, or their lack of, quite nicely. The villains. The Druidons are a race of species of some sort who fled the planet after they learned an asteroid was coming to decimate it. They've returned to the Earth to conquer it, I think? It's hard to say because the villains have no development whatsoever. They're kinda just there and random generals show up for the sake of showing up and that is it. They make the early Showa villains look deep.
そのポイントで何がもらえる?
Of the 43 series I have reviewed thus far, the Druidons are hands down the worst villains ever. This was clearly a collect a paycheck series for the actors because even they don't bother putting effort into them. The most important Druidon is a boy made of slime named Creon. Creon creates the Minosaurs by feeding his bodily fluids to countless victims.
Ladies and gentlemen, Minosaur no Dungeon!
Ew. Although, he apparently can make Minosaurs from inanimate objects, which makes it weird as to why they bother relying on humans to power their monsters when things like a rock can be multiplied by cutting it into pieces. It seems like Creon is a slave to a conquered planet, which means he lives in an abusive household where he is yelled at,
お前は笑うな。世界を混乱に陥れ、人間を根絶やしにするマイナスを生み出す。
これは私の考えた作戦。さも自分が考えたかのようにはしゃぐな。
and blown up by his adopted parents.
お前は用済みだ。
Worse, he seems to be okay with this most of the time.
変な人だけど、たまにムカつくけど、面白くて、僕を認めてくれて、僕の居場所なんだ。
What is Stockholm Syndrome? Creon is voiced by Ryoko Shirashi, who may be most known as the voice of Asuka in the Tekken series.
さらわれたみんなを返してもらう。
はい、わかりました。って聞くわけねえだろ。
Speaking of his abusive parents, they all follow a chess-like motif in their design. There is the first general, Tencho, who is the first general. Why they bother to cast Joji Nakata again in this type of role bewilders me.
感じるぞ。とてつもないパワー。
Next enters the most wasted potential in the name of Wiseau. Hikaru Midorikawa is no stranger to Super Sentai, and yet he puts in the most baseline effort here. Wiseau does have some legitimate moments of badassery, such as the time when he tricked a distraught victim into believing his friend hated him.
お前は俺の夢を奪った最低最悪野郎だ。一生許すわけないだろ。
どうして友達でしょ。
私はそんな奴と友達じゃん。
Nothing 河村じゃ Nothing
Wiseau is sidelined for another worthless piece of crap named Gachilles. Gachilles is voiced by Tatsu Inada, who was Doggy Kruger in Deca Ranger. Gachilles does stuff until his supposed demise. The last major general is Romy Park's Precious.
あれは計画だよ。
何？
大いなる力に頼らなければならないと意識づけるためにね。
Precious is apparently a high-ranking official that many Druidons fear because he has the ability to put their hearts into cards.
君らの命を握らせてもらったんだよ。ほら、どう？
Oh my god, he literally has the heart of the cards. His job on Earth is to wake their masters up, which is a ball of nothingness.
エラ様、あなたの弟を産んでください。今度こそ竜相族を根絶やしにしますから。
Bozo in Changeman was a bigger threat than this pointless creature. The grunts are just a bunch of robotic soldiers called Druidons. As for the Minosaurs, they too are some of the worst monsters of the week.
Double barrel, 4 times the payload of your original Super Soaker. Run, run, run! Less pump to power than before. XXP power gauge shows how much power you're packing. Let up!
There are a couple of cool designs to be found, but all of them are pretty much brainless beasts that spout a word or two based on the emotion of their hosts. Now, one thing I do like is instead of dying to grow, they actually do grow based on how much energy they have taken from their host. The Wizard wannabe Geysorg shows up a quarter of the way through. Geysorg is the name of evil armor that was created by the Ryusoul tribe to fight the Druidons, only to end up taking over its user's body. What is a Ranger? I can't say much about him without spoilers, but honestly, Geysorg's review is quite dumb, as is the outcome of his entire plot point. There have been a plethora of Sentai shows that have done the Geysorg plot better. The Mecha. What else is there to really say after 4 dino-themed series? Millions of years prior to the show's start, the Ryusoul tribe turned the dinosaurs into robots to help them fight the Druidons. What is a Ranger? Ko has the T-Rex because of course the Red Ranger has a motherfucking T-Rex, which is named Tiramigo. Melto gets a Triceratops because they already stretched Blue not having a trike in Kyoryuger. Asuna is an Ankylosaurus. Toa has a saber-toothed tiger because for some reason Toei keeps thinking there were saber-toothed tigers in the Mesozoic era. To be fair, if humans can coexist with dinosaurs, why not a saber-toothed tiger? Bomba's dinosaur buddy is a Miragaya, which is a long-necked Stegosaurus. I did find it interesting that Canalo has a Mosasaurus, which I feel is because the Mosasaurus had the best scene in Jurassic World. Teramiga and Moza Rex are able to talk to our heroes because why not continue ripping off Abba Ranger?
出て行った。
今テラミーゴ
喋った。
テレビを見ていて言葉を覚えたのかな。
We talk TV! You talk some TV!
お前たちに過去の恩習だけを授け未来への希望を渡していなかった自分の名あいつらは私が知っている陸の竜相族と確かに違うようだ
If a robot dinosaur can put aside his racism after a millennia of it, so can a goddamn human. The auxiliary dinos include a Sphinx wannabe Dimetrodon,
そもそも何時にとピザと10回言ってみろピザピザピザピザピザピザピザピザピザピザそれでどうだピザ食べたくなった
a pair of velociraptors who represent light and darkness, and a father-son Pachycephalosaurus combo. There's also a Pteranodon, who first appears sealed in an egg.
おいオトやめろよ落とすなよ絶対落とすなよああこれはな落とせって意味じゃないからなそういうのじゃないからだ
The Dimetrodon is able to combine with Moza Rex to form a pseudo-Spinosaurus. That's kind of weird looking, but I guess it's fine because it's unique. While I can't say the dino theme does much for me at this point, I do actually like the way these mechs were executed. Teramigo has his own robot mode he transforms into. Thanks to his simplistic design, the suit actor is actually able to maneuver around in fights, which does allow for some impressive spectacles. All the other dinos attach to him like Lego bricks as opposed to being various body parts. What is Die Ranger? Even when he ended up combining with Moza Rex and Pteranodon, I never felt they were all just stacked on top of each other as the suit actor was still able to move around. It was quite refreshing. On the subject of Moza Rex and Pteranodon, they both also have their own robot modes, giving them equal footing with Teramigo. It was weird to not have every dino merged together, though I'm not sure if that's because they didn't feel it would fit, or if it was just not done out of laziness like the writing of the show itself. The effects and music. Ryu Souls has hands down what is the most out of place ending theme ever. If there is one thing Ryu Souls fails at the most, it is its inability to have a proper tone. The ending theme, K-Boom Ryu Souls by Sister Mayo, may be the most polarizing ending theme ever. It is so happy-go-lucky and bouncy that it contradicts any dramatic moments that may occur at the end of an episode. You have just been beaten, the world may possibly end. Your friend just died. You have diarrhea. You have cancer.
I am your father.
See what I mean? All that tension is gone, just like that. Tomohiro Hatano's self-titled opening theme fares no better, as it's a dour theme of boredom. I guess it advertises the show quite well, as you're going to find yourself majorly bored for the next 23 minutes. Thankfully, Kiyoshi Yoshikawa's score is pretty solid for the most part, as it holds a lot of enjoyable compositions that effectively enhance what is happening on screen.
なんだこいつ気をつけろ僕たちのソウルが見えないのかな
させるか
電気は熱を生むお前に俺は止められない
見事だ次の間に進むがいい
Now, the effects work is where Ryu Souls is top notch. There is a lot of CGI used for the mecha, but nothing that breaks your immersion. As stated a moment ago, the mech battles are fantastic, with a lot of great camera angles, choreography thanks to the slimmer suits, and the miniature work is spectacular. I wish the production team utilized the same camera techniques here that they did for Lupat, as there's only a handful of well-shot fight scenes. Asuna receives what may be my favorite combat sequences in the entire show. The episodes. Ryu Souls is hands down the most soulless Sentai series to date. As I mentioned earlier in the review, Toei hired a drama television writer to helm this series. As such, you would think this would end up being the most dramatic series ever. Instead, we get the worst Sentai show out there. It's like Yamaoka had no idea what to do, so he decided to just copy the homework of every other Sentai show and pretend it was his own. There is a heavy influence of the previous 3 dinosaur series, on top of elements of Gingaman, Goseiger, Maji Ranger, just to name a few. Worse, the show lacks drama, because every time we have a serious moment, it is quickly undermined by some forced comedy bit. The scene of Ryu Soul Brown I showed earlier is a perfect representation of this show's tone. It's like they were too scared to have anything overly serious, so they had to immediately follow up a serious second with cartoon antics. There's even a scene between Wiseau and Gachilles that feels like it was ripped right out of a Looney Tunes sketch.
宇宙に逃げたわけか回避した逃げた回避逃げた回避逃げた回避逃げ回避あ今逃げたって言ったっけ言ってない
This show lacks story too, as little to nothing happens plot-wise, period. The main villains are not even actually defeated in the end. A lot of the time, tasks are accomplished off screen. For example, one episode has our heroes saying they need to find out who the person producing a Minosaur is. In the next scene, they're in a hospital watching a dad hold his sick son's hand, and we have no idea how they even tracked him. It's like the cast was given the script and they appeared there because the script told them to do so.
マイナスを生んだ人間を見つけ出す
待って兄さん
あの子供がマイナスを。
Consistency was not Ryu Soldier's strong point either. There was one episode that saw Canalo not wanting to be a part of the Ryu Soldiers, even though it happened 2 episodes after he officially joined the team.
マイナスを消滅させる。人々を守るためだ。
それは俺には関係ない。願いしは俺が守る。
やめろ2人とも。仲間割れしてる場合じゃない。こいつの仲間になった覚えはない。
Weisel says this to Kreon after his heart has been taken by Precious.
そうっすよね。いつ心臓を潰されるかわからない方がスリル満点で面白いですよね。ですよね。
気がついちゃった。
Only for the follow-up episode to start with this.
マイル様、どうしたんすか？
最近ときめかないのだ。それもこれもあいつのせいだ。
君らの命を握らせてもらった。
There are a multitude of plot points that come across unfinished or forgotten. The Prime Minister character I mentioned earlier disappeared at the end of her episode, leaving the Ryu Soldiers wondering where she went. We never hear from her again as if the show forgot she even existed. Nor do we learn what the point of Seto was.
私の名は瀬戸、光と闇、その狭間の住人。
Ryu Soldier not only ripped off every Sentai show before it, but it did it without even fully being cooked. It's as if Yamaoka prematurely pulled the show out of the oven and served it without a care as to how it would taste. There's only a handful of episodes I could truly say I enjoyed, but even those were quite mediocre. My favorite is the 2-parter, the Dino Knights of Light and Darkness, and the Lives of the Dead. In this duology, a really badass looking Minosaur is switching people around with those who are already dead.
夜から魂を吸い取られるぞ。
This ends up resurrecting Master Pink, which pleases Asuna.
マスターはどうやって生き返ったんですか？
デパ地下の試食コーナー行ってみたいと思ったらこっち戻ってきちゃった。
At the same time, Yui's mother is also brought back from the dead, giving her the opportunity to teach Yui how to cook her beloved hamburger steak.
お母さんのハンバーグってなんであんなに甘かったんだろうって。作り方もっと早く教えてあげればよかった。
Tank Joe is also back, and stronger than ever before.
一度死んだらポイントはゼロになるのか。
It's got some truly touching moments, with a few not so great ones where I started to question Canalo's kinks.
フリーですか？
は？フリーっていうか一度死んでますけど。
ありです。
The fights are pretty good, at least by Ryu Soldier standards. Naturally, this is where Ko received his Cosmos armor, because of course he did. Trying to narrow down my least favorite episode was kind of hard as there were so many episodes I greatly disdained. I decided to go with another pair of episodes. The Vile Space Dragon Appears and Earth's Greatest Decisive Battle features the debut of Precious, who brings a giant dragon monster with him to Earth. However, that is not the problem I have with these episodes. The problem is the plot revolving around the Rangers. Due to how powerful Precious is, the Rangers are recommended by their elder to tackle a series of trials that will give them an increase in power. However, they must perform these tasks individually, with each member going their separate ways to handle these trials.
お前にはスピードの試練だ。超高速で飛ぶ虫を捕まえてみろ。
え？虫？
お前には集中力の試練だ。心を乱さずトランプタワーが作れれば合格だ。戦う相手が現れないのはお前の心の問題だ。 お前自身が気づかぬ限り永遠にこのままだろう。
This sounds like a really solid concept that could easily take up several episodes to accomplish. They could focus on 1 to 2 rangers per episode and have a 4th or 5th episode be in the climactic battle with Precious's beast. Instead, we are shown little to nothing with these trials. The first to enter the trials is of course Bomba and TOA, who headed out for them before the others. We see them enter the trials, being given their tasks, and then it shows us them accomplishing their tasks just as Ko and gang arrive to do theirs. Ko, Melt, and Asuna all enter their trials, where we are shown what each one is going to have to contend with, and then a 2-day time jump occurs, and we see them each finish their trials as well.
この周囲には1本だけ橋がかかっている。それを渡ってここから脱出できれば合格だ。
丸2日。さすがに限界が。
合格だ、メルト。
All sense of drama is rendered moot because we are never actually shown anything dramatic. We are just told the drama occurred and are to accept it as is. The movies and special. 2 movies and a special exist. The summer movie takes place between episodes 14 and 15. The movie's Minosaur is able to traverse time and constantly takes the Rangers to the period where the asteroid was going to hit the planet and the Druidons had just left. They befriend a young woman whose father, named Valma, has initiated a war amongst the Ryu Soul tribe thanks to his armor, and the Ryu soldiers attempt to stop him and the oncoming asteroid, which is big enough to decimate the entire planet. Cole takes on Geizorg while the others roleplay Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, and Steve Buscemi. Godzilla fans will probably recognize Valma because he is played by Shiro Sano.
選ばれし民は皆シェルターに入った。お前も早く避難しろ。
選ばれなかった民はどうなるの？
さあ。
Clearly, the Earth isn't destroyed. We get to see a new mech in action solely for this movie. Because I already forgot what happens. Yep. Already forgotten. The traditional versus movie comes next, which has another awkward title because it's Ryusoulger versus Lupin Ranger versus Pot Ranger. This one begins with Kreon freeing a new gangler from prison, creating a Minosaur from him.
いやー、さすがガニマ様。ってことで僕、今日からギャングラーに入ります。
ならば。
During battle, the Ryu soldiers are separated and both Bomba and TOA get arrested by the Pot Rangers for carrying around swords.
そんなものを持ってどこへ行くつもりだ？
答える必要はない。
That seems a bit random, since no one cared before. Stuff happens, the Ryu soldiers team up with the previous teams, and a big battle occurs. Thankfully, there is no random scene with a past ranger from another show appearing out of nowhere to do nothing. But I can't say this movie was anything beyond boring. It does have a few notable moments, such as Kairi trolling Ko.
ありがとう。
Oto socking Kreon in the face.
ほら。ちょっと逃げましょう。ほら。
And Sakuya's epic fail when everyone is switching weapons with each other.
とやってみたかった。スーパーパトレン2号。2人とも危ないから僕から離れてね。はい。
I also found the aspect of having a new gangler kinda dumb, as Degranio was imprisoned at the end of Lupat. It would have made far more sense to have Creon free him rather than a new guy, which would have actually given the previous teams a personal stake in this plot. Instead, the Lupin Rangers are there because they're there, while the Potch Rangers are there because they are cops. Just another missed opportunity for Ryusoulger to do something sensible. Finally, there was a short 15-minute special that was shown in theaters in February of 2021 that came out with what should have been the Kira Major summer film along with a Zenkaiger movie. It was made to pay tribute to Yui's actress, though they don't even talk about Yui in it, so I'm not exactly sure how. It's set between episodes 32 and 33, and I guess it is meant to give Nada some character development, even though it's rather pointless given how everything ends up in episode 33.
奪われたらまた一から手に入れたらええんや。お前や子たちを見てそれに気づいた。お前らしくない。
Kao is the only ranger to transform as the Minosaur has taken on the form of a human. Like everything else, it's a story you'll forget 20 minutes later. Once again, I forgot. These are your overall thoughts on Ryusoulger. What is the most uninspiring, insipid Sentai series I have reviewed to date? It takes everything it stole from every other series, puts it together, and blends it together horribly. The rating? What is a well-justified 1 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex? Go watch Zyuranger, Abaranger, and Kyoryuger instead. Thank you for playing, and those at home, thank you for watching. Bye. Welcome everyone, I am your host, Zella Backtrack. Tonight I have a special guest who's going to talk about the Super Sentai series Kishiryu Sentai. Tonight on Jeopardy we have a very special guest who is a Sentai